Hello, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing all right, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing all right too, thanks. Barely keeping my eyes open. No, I'm good. I'm very well, thank you. I'm very good. And I know we wanted to jump on and record a podcast today because we felt called to after the mornings we've both had. Um, I know mine was off the back of very little sleep because I was up with my little people
Yeah.
quite a lot in the night. I think I've had about 3, maybe 4 hours sleep at a push.
Oh,
So my morning was a bit funky.
mm,
And then obviously we've kind of chatted via voice notes this morning, haven't we? And
yeah.
it turns out you too have had a little bit of a funky morning.
Yes, I
So
have.
tell me all about it.
Oh, it's the mum guilt crept up on me today.
Oh, that horrible stuff. That horrible
Oh,
stuff.
oh goodness. We just had well, to be honest, I woke up like, boom, I'm ready for the
Mm,
day. And then, when also almost you feel like you've got ready early and then you've got more time. The
yeah.
time just disappeared. And then I was like,
Mm,
oh my goodness, looked at the time. Bearing in mind, I'd had a few lovely moments with the girls this morning. I really had. And then I realized how late we were. And I was like, right, we need to get in the car. And it threw me off because we were driving rather than walking.
yeah.
So I was like, oh, I don't know what the traffic's like. So a lot underneath. And I just felt like I blew, and you're just like, right, everybody into the car. I couldn't, and you
Yeah.
can't stop yourself being
Yeah.
cross. Like, just couldn't
Yeah.
stop myself. I was like,
Yeah. Absolutely.
so we piled into the car, and I sat and I was like, as soon as we were driving and I got out of the whole stressful little bit of road where nobody lets you out, which is
Yeah.
lovely in the morning. I had one person then let me out, and nobody had let me the other way. And when you're like, come on, and then people were like waiting to cross, and I was like, oh
Somebody please let me out.
God. So we got onto the road, and I said sorry to the girls. I was like, look, mummy didn't realize the time then, and and we kind of spoke about that. I kind of just said, and because I like to do that, I'm like, I'd rather approach it with them and say, I wish I hadn't got so cross then. Do you know what I mean? Like, kind of just an apologize because, yeah. Anyway, so I did that, and then we were driving along, and April, my youngest, just started to get quite upset and just go back to like, she was like, I just don't know why, because I think it's nervousness
Mm,
of like, obviously she's just started school and she keeps thinking about all these, like, just relaying all these stories and even stories from nursery and different things that have happened. She said, I just don't know why I can't stop thinking about all these stories. I was like,
oh, bless her.
I'm like, so my heart was breaking. And then obviously, like, we were fine, but then the emotion had obviously just got to her. And everybody's tired at this point, aren't they? We're like two
Yeah.
weeks into the new routine. It's a Friday. And we got to the school gates and she was just beside herself. So she was in tears. And then, anyway, Autumn helped her in because Autumn was full of cold. So she didn't want to go in anyway, but she stepped up as the big sister was.
Oh,
So they went in together and they were absolutely fine after. But I got into the car and, well, I was voice noting you, and actually I just re-listened to this voice note and I was absolutely fine. Then it was like I just started talking about it and my voice just went, didn't it?
yeah. Yeah.
And it just crept up on me. And in those moments of just feeling like just like a terrible mum, I my brain took me to all the things that I hadn't done this morning, all the things that I wish I'd done differently, like all the negatives. I didn't see like the little game in the shower that I was playing with April or the little cuddle this morning with Autumn that was really, really lovely. And I just focused on those impatient moments, those tears at the gate when she didn't want to go in. There was a cuddle of they both cuddled as they went in, which was lovely. Like that was a lovely like sister moment. You know what I mean? But my
Yeah.
brain was just focused on all that bad stuff. And yeah, I had to take him. And that was one. I feel like this kind of highlights like real positivity with true positive with uh, real positivity, sorry, and toxic positivity, doesn't it? Like
Mm,
we have to feel those feelings. We can't just brush them over and just
no.
whack a bit of positivity in there and like a positivity plaster and expect it to go away. Like I had to feel that mum guilt this morning, but then it was the loveliness of obviously opening up and talking to you about it and starting to then really see the light in it and just shift my brain back to actually, I'm not a terrible mum.
Mm.
I did the best with what I could this morning. And I know that when I pick them up soon, they're going to be in a completely different space as I am. And, you know, we do our best every day, don't we, with whatever that looks like. And yeah, it was just one of those, it just hit me like a ton of bricks this morning. I feel like my
Yeah.
eyes is telling you.
Yeah, and I love what you just said there, because it is about, like, yeah, obviously we want to have a positive mindset. We want to be consistent with that as much as possible. But there will be moments in our days like this. And I'll share my brief experience with you this morning too.
Yeah.
And what I did to kind of manage that and navigate it. But I love that you've said, you obviously felt this mum guilt, but then you decided to do something about it rather than sit in it and manifest it and just allow it to grow and consume, I suppose, is a good word, because we can,
Yeah.
if we sit in that guilt and that, oh, I'm not this and I'm not that and I've done this and I've
Yeah.
done that, and sit in that and choose to stay there, we know the power our thoughts completely create those feelings.
Mm.
And if you carried forward in the day with those feelings of just not being a good enough mum,
Yeah.
like, how's your day gonna go? I'm gonna take a wild guess that it's not
No.
going to be a particularly pleasant day for you. And I
No.
think just having that ability and that conscious awareness to go, yeah, I'm feeling this morning, but I'd like to do something about it. And obviously for you in this instance, it was to voice note me. And it was, this is going to sound a bit odd. It was wonderful to hear. It is not wonderful to hear you crying on a voice note, Charlotte. That's not what I mean. But it's wonderful for you to go through
Yeah.
this journey, and almost like we've always got our own answers, haven't we? But
We
it's what
have.
you're doing on this journey, this awareness to, discover those in this voice note, but also allow yourself to feel that emotion, that overwhelm. Like you said, it's a build up. Kids have gone back to school. In your situation, it's
Yeah.
your youngest starting school for the first time. That's a big thing. That's a
I
big thing for
know.
her and for you and for your household. 2 weeks in, everyone's just feeling a bit, oh.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of emotion, and just letting that out this morning. Just, I don't know. This I feel that's quite what's the word? Like, just allowing that is quite a
Yeah.
restorative thing, isn't it? Just to let it out and
Yeah.
move with those emotions, and know it's not permanent, and know that the emotions come and go like the waves of the ocean, and
Yeah.
then have that ability to be like, right, what can I choose to do here? I'm going to talk to Kat. It's a sounding
Yeah.
board. She's my safe space. um she'll
Yeah.
she'll voice note back with, like, come on. Come on now.
Which you did, which was
In a
great.
very compassionate and empathetic way. But it was something that you said. I mean, do you mind me sharing
No,
what
yeah.
was shared in those voice notes?
Mm.
You said, just try and get this correctly, that you felt bad for putting yourself first and not
Yeah.
putting them first. I don't know if you can remember what my response to that was.
Yes, because and this is what when my brain spiraled, and this as well, I'm talking, this is probably 20 minutes of me in this space in the car, whereas this would have been days, weeks,
Yeah,
potentially months, having
yeah,
not done this work, because I would have kept that under the surface and not dealt with it. And this is the thing, those feelings build up then, don't they? And you're creating yourself evidence of not being a good enough mum, whereas actually you're being a brilliant mum, but you're just not seeing those brilliant things.
yeah,
And in that spiral, obviously this week we have had such an incredible TAGC week, but my balance has been a little bit more TAGC and
yeah.
a little bit, I've kind of we've been here, there, and everywhere, which has been amazing. But that balance has gone like that, which is absolutely fine.
Mm.
And then there's a big thing that I've done today, which feels massive to me, is I have treated myself to a brand new iPhone, which I
Yay.
haven't done in a long, long time. And I've been so excited about it, but I've dealt with a lot of feelings of not feeling deserving, haven't I, Kat?
You have. So I think myself and all our listeners need to now hold you accountable to use this new iPhone, because I can't wait to see all this glorious content that's going to come with this new swanky phone. Am I
I
right?
know, yes. And it was just in those moments of I drew those two things up and I was like, right,
Mm.
should I really be putting myself first? Like I've just dropped both of them. We've had tears this morning, and I was just so mean. And it was that, like, should I really be putting myself first in these moments? And it's mental, because like you so wonderfully came back to me with, is like, it is imperative that we put ourselves first, because we can be better for those around us. And I really truly believe that. Like, me in my frustrated state a couple of years ago, when I was a stay-at-home mum and I hadn't found that thing for me, and I was just on this cycle and I had nothing for me, I wasn't happy. I wasn't doing things that brought my dreams to reality. I wasn't looking in the mirror and actually appreciating myself. I was looking at a picture and seeing all that I didn't like about it. I was, really not loving myself at all, not even having a moment to practice that. And you said something so wonderful that I think we'll have to share it in here or at some point, that was just like, I want my girls to love themselves unconditionally and fully, and have that, because we didn't with the society that we grew up in, really, did we? Because it was the way it was. Like, we've always, I don't know, we've gone through a lot of changes, haven't we, as a society? But for example, the media has always shown us things that aren't real, and made us base what we aspire to look or be like on something that's not real. I hope I'm kind of making sense here. I feel like
you are.
But yeah, so I really want to ensure that they love and accept who they are, and all their unique qualities, all their imperfections, and be able to look in that mirror and know who they are and where they want to go in life. And you said to me, like, who is the best role model to not just teach them that, but show them that? And that is me. So what I am doing in these moments is important for me to be able to give that to my girls. I've got to show them how to do it before I then expect them to do it. And that will stay with me the next time I am full of doubt.
Take a moment now to just acknowledge that and be so proud of that, because that takes a lot to realize, doesn't it? Like, we want our girls to love and accept themselves unconditionally. And I'm sure any mother out there listening, or any parent out there listening, wants that for their children too, because in loving and accepting ourselves, we can just navigate life easy. Do I use the word easier? I suppose I do. Yeah, I think in loving and accepting yourself, it's hard to summarize the magic that happens when you do, and it is a journey. But ultimately, do want our kids to love themselves and just be proud of themselves, and not constantly second guess themselves, not constantly compare themselves, not constantly strive to be somebody else and give up this person that they are, because that is a waste of the person that they are. And the best people to guide them, to show them how to do that, is ourselves, and that is by living it out, by loving and accepting ourselves unapologetically, unconditionally. So in putting yourself first, you are absolutely putting your girls first. And I'm just really glad that we've been able to pick that apart today, because I think there'll be a lot of listeners that relate to all these feelings, all this mum guilt. So I'll super quickly summarize mine this morning, because it was very similar. That I had very minimal sleep last night. My husband is away, so it was on me to get up and get the girls ready and out this morning. And we were just a little bit behind time. Naturally, I didn't have to get up and get going. It got up and got gone this morning, no matter how much coffee I pumped into my body. So we were massively running late, but just enough to cause that sort of like, oh, I want to make sure you get in, and the doors at school haven't closed. So it was a good pace down to school, and they both wanted to talk to me at the same time. They both wanted to hold my hand. They both wanted this, that, and the other. And I didn't have the patience that I normally do, and it just wasn't a very good feeling. So they went off into school. All was fine when they went in, kisses, cuddles, have a great day. But I just kind of walked away feeling a bit like, oh, in the first instance, like, oh, I don't feel particularly good. I feel harassed. It all feels a bit chaotic. I feel a bit stressed. I feel a bit uptight. I felt guilty. And I kind of preempted this because I've practiced this. I've practiced this. And so I quickly grabbed my headphones just before I left because I knew I was going to have to do something to break that state and break those patterns of that inner critic and that inner guilt and that unhelpful self-talk to be able to shift into having a better day. So I grabbed my headphones on the way out, and sure as damn it, I kind of as soon as I said goodbye to the girls, put them on and put on some calming music as I walk back up the hill. And I chose to get home and reset and use that old reset button. And that was purely and simply just coming in and just taking a moment to rest and set my intentions, and taking some deep breaths and just being like, look, this happened this morning and I felt those feelings, and I've done the best with what I've got right now. I've done the best with what I've got right now, and that's enough. And just kind of put that to one side and be like, well, how do I want to think and feel for the rest of the day? Do I want to carry on in this space and in this state? And I didn't. So it was a choice and it was a decision. But that all sounds very simple, and it is, but that takes practice and that takes work. But it's a tool that we use, and we do, we obviously share in the membership the reset button. It is something you can tap into, but it is on a very conscious level. But the reason I wanted to share that more to the point was just that, with the best will in the world, my morning magic is beautiful when it works. But some mornings, the
chaos.
the what you call hits the what you call, and it all just goes by the by, and that's life, and it's just how we navigate through that. And I can relate to that mum guilt,
and I think it's a really good example, mum guilt, isn't it, of then in that space you just have to look around in the school gates and you could just pick a mum out who has it together that morning and be like, they always have it together. And the reality is, like, actually, Charlotte, we all deal with it. And that's not anything on anybody else, I mean, like, in my brain, I pick up on a mum that might have it together that morning.
Yeah. But we have it together some mornings, right?
Exactly. And I'm like, but my brain is like, have it together all the time. And, and you could instantly compare.
Perception,
and
isn't it?
And this is where having these conversations, we can just open that up and be like, do you know what? We are all doing the best. And like you said, when you have got two and they're both talking at you and wanting exactly the same things, it's like, it's actually not possible. Like sometimes I'm like, I cannot take in all of this information. No, I cannot.
No. Well, I'm trying to logisticate a very busy road as well.
Yes.
And they're like flies. Like, I need to keep you on the path. I've got to keep you safe. And my voice was raising to levels that I don't like to use. And it was just, after that, I'm like, oh, this is not calm parenting. This is not who I want to be. And it's like, Kat, don't beat yourself up, man, because this is, this isn't every day. This is because you're making a conscious effort and a conscious decision to shift out of that. And it's just, I think the moral of the story is just give ourselves a break and know that we are not alone. And the more we open up and talk about this and have these open and honest conversations in a space tired in a safe space like we are here, and also like we do in the community on our socials and of course in the club with our weekly meetups, it's just you soon realize you're not alone. Everyone's fudging it.
Definitely. And I think like the biggest takeaway and the thing that massively helped me get out of it for me today was fire those good things back at your brain, because we can so easily obsess over that thing that we didn't get right. And actually, surrounding that one thing are other ways that we have been wonderful. We've had breakfast on the table, we've fed and dressed our children. Might have had a fun little, like we might have had cuddles along the way, might have had fun little moments, even if they were a millisecond and a smile across the room. Do you know what I mean? But we focus on that one bit where I was yelling, thinking, oh God, what are the neighbours going to be thinking of me? On the way to, I was, quick, get in the car, stop messing about, and you're like, get in the goddamn car. Just stop messing about.
Yeah.
But that was literally, and that was seconds, like
Yeah.
literally. And then obviously the tears we got, but that's okay.
It's jumping, it's that is the takeaway. It's in those moments, jumping in. Well, sorry, after that, after that's happened, it's then jumping into best friend mode,
Yeah.
your own best friend.
Yeah.
It's like, Charlotte, if I was talking to you, Charlotte, look, okay, you may have expressed yourself in a particular way that you would have like not to have done, but look at what you have done this morning.
Yeah.
And it's just using ourselves to be our own best friend
It
and be kind to
is.
ourselves, just like you would a buddy, just like somebody else that you care
Yeah.
and love for and support. Do it for
Yeah.
yourself, because there will be something that you have done that is, it's a good thing with good intentions.
Yeah.
So choose to see that.
Definitely. And the funny thing is actually, because obviously you fired back at me all the things that I needed to hear in that morning. But sometimes it's not until we've taken those words, and it could be external, but and given them to ourselves. When you
Yeah.
can listen to something, like it is so important that we actually take a minute, and whether it is external support that you gain and give it to yourself, or whether it is that you go straight to internal and go, do you know what? I'm actually going to give myself a break and find one thing in this morning that's actually been good and keep thinking of that instead. And we've got to be that internal, hasn't it? Like,
Absolutely.
no matter, people can say anything,
Oh
but
yeah,
until
yeah,
we're like
yeah,
literally from the inside going, do you know what? I'm doing all right, and starting to believe it.
yeah. And
Like
that is a
that's,
practice, and that is a
yeah,
practice. And the sooner we start doing that for ourselves, the better we will feel. So
yeah,
go forth and be your own best friend today and every
yeah,
day from here on
yes,
out, and just start that journey and
yeah,
practice it. Give
mm-hmm.
yourself that love, kindness, compassion, understanding, patience.
Yeah,
Give it all to yourself.
yes, love it. Oh, I
Oh,
think we needed
well,
this one.
yeah, we
Both
did.
of our
So,
shoulders will just go,
yeah,
oh.
yeah. Got 30 minutes to go pick up the kids from school. Woohoo! It's Friday. Cool.
Yes.
Amazing. Well, it has been
Uh,
lovely to chat. And yeah, there's a chance that we might share some snippets from those voice notes this morning to see. We're
I
going to see
think
how
so.
you feel on that.
Yeah.
And if you'd like to ask us anything about
Yeah.
what we shared today,
Mm-hmm.
our DMs are always open. You can email us hello@theauthenticgirlsclub.com. You
Yeah.
can find us on Instagram and Facebook, and obviously on our website www.theauthenticgirlsclub.com. So just
Yes.
reach out. We love to connect. We love to chat. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's been great speaking to you.
It has. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
You're
Thank
welcome. Take
you. Speak
care.
to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.